and that should go in, and YouTube should be happy, and everybody's happy, and we don't have to deal with all this. Yeah, that was. I'll have to call good old Comcast tomorrow and figure out what in the world is going on. But yeah, it's Sherwin's phone to the rescue. Mine was getting 500 kilobits per second upload, which is
there you go.
There we go.
God awful.
I think we're good.
And
Sherwin's MIA, but that's all right.
His phone gets something like 30 megabits upload. So you are live. All right.
Hell yeah. All right.
I was telling Brandon, I said, putting together a foursome's a lot harder than you think it is.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Oh, there it is.
That's awesome. There he is.
Back at it. All right, let's see.
I see you.
Let's see. Refresh.
But we got to look. We got to look here.
Yeah, we got to look
here.
Yes. Yeah, no, we can't look. All right,
we can't look at those guys.
Nope.
Right.
Live streaming. All right. Oh crap! Am I gonna?
What was that?
I don't know. What'd you do? Oh, and it's just on us. I can go to. Whoa, Gigantor video. Okay, let's. That
was weird.
Oh, stuff's making noises. All right.
I got a fresh drink.
We are back in the saddle. Look at that, and it looks good.
There we go.
All right.
I think we're good. I think we're back.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Holy crap! Sherwin's phone to the rescue.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Give us 10 seconds here. We're going to try and raise this up a little bit so we're not
Sure thing.
looking down at the.
Oh yeah.
No, I meant this.
Oh, you want that turned down?
No, I mean, oh yeah. Is that where the camera's at?
No, the camera's on that. Oh, I thought you wanted so that we could see that.
Why the fuck would I want that?
Jeez,
right.
wow, icky.
Come on.
God.
Get after him.
Let's see here if we can set it on this.
We set it up there or something.
Oh yeah, I could do that too. Duh.
All right. All right. Now I will tweet the live stream.
There you go. It was on there.
Okay.
Your thing was jacked up there.
Okay.
All right, they're
Hold on, we're
boogering
still
around with their
fighting here.
camera.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this. You got a box or something you just set that on? That thing's fucking.
I mean,
Looks
that
like they
sounds
got the same mics and mic booms that we do.
Oh yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There we go.
Did y'all get the?
How's that?
What is this? Ars or Audio Technica? Whatever the hell this is. ATR
There we go.
2100.
How's that?
Looking good. Yep.
All right.
Cool. Let's do it.
Woo, stream is live. Stream is live. People are excited. It's not
Hell
working.
yeah.
Ashley, what do you? Ashley, if
Tell
it
her
ain't
to
working, it's
shut up.
on your end now.
Yep. Your crap's broke if it's a problem now.
We fixed our crap. It took 20 minutes, but
It damn sure did.
I resetted my router and everything. So,
It's working for everybody except Ashley.
oh, bummer. All right.
right.
Well, with that, we're going to be running over anyway. So, Sherwin, you ready?
Yep.
Fellas, y'all ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do this. Let's see. I got to start recording in all the different places that require recording. And remember what I have to do next. Let me make sure.
Destiny to the main stage.
Oh, I know what I need to do. Oops. I got to do one more thing. And then we'll be in the happy. Because I do not give a crap. Okay, there we go. That looks good. That's.
Oh, we didn't do level tests.
No, we didn't. Here, I can do it now. Check. That looks good.
Check.
Sure, we can come down just a hair, fellas.
Good.
Yep, that
You
looks
there?
perfect. All right, we'll call that good.
Cool.
Amateur radio at its
You're not
finest.
recording yet. You're not recording yet, right?
Nope.
Oh yeah, we're live.
Yes.
Well, yes
That's fine.
and no.
Okay.
Oh, we're on YouTube. I mean,
This
No,
YouTube.
I have a pre-show tradition, but we won't do it here.
We already heard you.
okay.
We did it. We were live.
we'll talk about it after the after the show's over, right?
Let's
After we
do
stop
that.
streaming.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do this. Let me make sure that's the right theme song. That is the right theme song. Let me make sure I got notes up. The only thing I actually read for
you can play our song.
I'll do it. All right, here goes nothing. We are recording now. The PETM podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PETM and join that What You Drinking Club for as little as $1 a month and get that free koozie, y'all. Best part is every cent in 2017, we're donating that to sponsoring drivers. So join that PETM posse today and be a part of the sport you love. This week's show is brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. That's Catherine Kingston, Ashley Stang, Jeffrey Whitler, Mark Wiley, Craig Smulders, Rick Hamisher, Lori Sutton, Mick Rose, Tony Salt. It's a long list, y'all. Keep up. Colby McClam, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Marion LeBest, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, and Harry Balzania. Let's do this.
Get to Daytona, Bristol, Charlotte, it's an
welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 105. It's Wednesday, July 5th, 2017. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm joining the PETM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Well, we whittled some internet out of a piece of wheat, and I think we're ready to go here.
Tell you what, it's been an ordeal trying to get this thing started. We're about 23 minutes late, but we're ready to roll. We're ready to go. We're ready to be somebody. It's going to be crazy tonight because we've got some special guests tonight, don't we?
There we go.
And
I believe we do.
Who we forgot to warn that when I play the theme song, they won't be able to hear us. So I think
we heard them a little bit.
Yeah, I think they were going.
I didn't know that they were supposed to be quiet during that.
That's
okay though.
It's fun, y'all. It's the host of our friends Brandon Crowd and Tony Smith over there at the Lap Traffic Podcast. They can see you, they can hear you. What's up, fellas?
What up?
How you doing, guys?
Y'all are looking
How's
good.
Everybody?
Y'all brought the like A+ shirts tonight. We got the Detroit on the stick shift thing. We got the Lap Traffic with the freaking gigantic
6-speed with reverse down.
Yeah,
right there.
They ran out of
awesome.
big ones.
They ran out of the big ones.
Ran out of the pink ones or the. Sorry.
Well, boys, y'all know how we start this thing. What y'all drinking tonight before we get too deep?
Brandon's got a sippy cup.
The professor's always got his. I know you got Tito's and Red Bull.
Hell
I don't even
Tito's,
have,
Red Bull.
I don't even have to look. I'm going with the Leinenkugel, a little summer shandy tonight.
Little summer shandy
nice.
Leinenkugel. So when I go to Milwaukee, which is like once a month now, for work, I pass that Leinenkugel brewery every time, and always think about stepping in there. I hadn't gone yet, so I'm gonna have to make a trip out of that one. Sherwin, what you got for us today?
Well, as has been sort of on the docket normally the last few weeks, I come in here and I steal Jim Beam from you and ginger ale. I did bring a couple of beers for later, and I brought some good stuff for later.
What is that? That's McKinney or Henry McKinney?
Henry McKenna Single Barrel Kentucky Bottled in Bond Bourbon Whiskey.
Well, we'll be getting right into that.
We'll
I found this Dos Equis Double Deuce in the back of the fridge.
It looks pretty interesting.
So we're just going to slug that one.
Equis.
Yeah. It's a tasty one. Well, let's see here. So, I mean, we've gone through what you're drinking, fellas. It's great to have you all on the show. How are y'all doing? What's going on? How's the 4th of July?
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
And thanks, you guys are awesome. You guys have been so good to us, and just the support you guys have given us. The racing community in NASCAR is awesome, and really happy to be on the show, guys.
In the pre-show, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit. We were chatting about Eldora coming up. That's a whole segment coming up, but just the amount of people that we talk about between y'all, between Lori, all the other people we're meeting, and everything. It's such a cool community to be part of. I keep using that word, that community word, and it's so fun. And it's way more fun to be like, oh, this is awesome. Let's have more people and hang out, because that's what we're trying to do at the end of the day. Hang out at some races, meet some people, have some fun. And it's fun to support over trying to think of like, there's some other boys doing a podcast. We got to, I don't know. I don't even have that.
Whatever the other thing
we got to beat that. I don't know how that works. Yeah. What'd y'all do for 4th of July? Any fun?
Well, I, for the last 6 years, have hosted like a mega block party with a massive fireworks show. I tweeted out a video of our finale. and I pissed some people off, apparently,
That
in the
was-
city of Berkeley.
He was trying to burn the neighborhood down. But
We don't
no,
mess around.
No, it's big. It's big. No, I was with some family out outside of the Detroit area and just floating around on a pontoon boat and watching some fireworks with a cooler of beer. So I was a happy guy.
Jealous
What
of
about
the
you guys?
lake deal. Sherwin, what'd you do?
Well, I never heard him build the deck that they used to shoot the fireworks off, but I kind of peeked up there in the afternoon to see if we were going to have a show.
Yep.
Sure enough. So for the third out of the last 5 years, I watched a professional fireworks show literally go off above my head.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rusty and his wife got to see what that was like the first year I was back in the Atlanta area. But, so I live below a dam that's on a golf course, and they build this deck up on the dam that's probably 100 feet long, and it's straight up. It's professional, but it's not. You can tell there's rednecks up there that are setting fire on stuff because I can just hear
Well,
them.
that's how you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, exactly. And you can hear them talking, like, "Hey man, fire in the hole, boom!" But it's like these fireworks. Every one of them busted like right over my head. I periscoped the whole thing, and I think people are going to think because of the distance and the fisheye and all that stuff, you can't really tell. But no, literally, like ash is falling on me.
It's the truth. We when I went over to your house that one time to watch them on July 4th, so we go through his backyard, which is maybe 15 feet, and then we go through the woods, which is another 15 feet.
Yeah,
and then we set up lawn chairs right there in like the practice green area because there's a golf course back there, and you're not allowed there normally because that's where they shoot the fireworks, but. It's like, dude, we're still on our property.
Yeah, I scared
Right,
the hell
yeah.
out my neighbor yesterday because I snuck up behind her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she didn't know I was going to be there, and I was like, "Oh, hey!" And,
She fell out of her chair. So the city I live in, city of Chambly, they put on this fireworks show out at some big soccer field, and it was funny, and I loved it, and I hope they keep doing it. They're like, we're going to shoot them off at the soccer field, and they spent a lot of money, like big time money on this one. My taxes are going to something, I guess. And
that's probably Tysa, right? Tucker U Soccer League fields.
maybe it's over at Keswick Park up just a little north of here. But so they were like, all right, we're going to shoot them off from this half of the soccer field. So everybody sit on the other half of the soccer field. Not realizing, it's
a little close.
Yeah, it's a little close. So probably the closest I've been to a fireworks show of that magnitude. And then they had some sort of glitch. So they were playing music and everything, and doing the all the patriotic songs and everything. But you could tell every once in a while, like there'd be 20 seconds between fireworks while the songs are still playing and everything. And at first you're like, well, they just don't really have it synced up. Evidently, they had some sort of misfiring thing going on, and so they play the grand finale and everything. But after that, I'm pretty sure what happened was they looked down and they were like, "Oh crap, we've still got I don't know, it had to be 500 unshot fireworks. What do we do?" And there was the redneck in the background that was drunk, said, "Hell, shoot them off!" So after the grand finale, everybody's getting their chairs together.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, and they proceed to have another 30-minute show from the leftover fireworks. So
I need to find.
City of Chambly did it right, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Well, I'll give you in perspective. So our houses the lots are only 40 feet wide.
Mhm.
Okay, so your house is in there, so you got about 10 to 12 feet between houses.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon's putting off stuff as big as any municipality. He's putting off. And you talk about being close, man. It's yeah. But
For real.
He puts on a good show. He puts on a good show for real.
I'm a pyrotechnic, I guess. I don't know.
Somewhere
Apparently I like
between
to-
pyrotechnic and pyromaniac.
It's a fine line that I walk.
I think everybody's teenage boy days come back to him. I was
nerd neck.
You know what I was doing? I was looking at this thing. It was something on the internet. Somebody just posted. They said, how can you break the ice in a conversation? And and one person said the easiest way to do it, if you're just talking with another dude, is just to ask him about that time they set something on fire. Because every dude has set something on fire.
It could be a bug, whatever. Someone did something
Yeah.
with a
Tell me about that time you
magpie
said,
last winter.
"Oh God, let me tell you about this time I set the woods on fire. I set the freaking grass pile on fire." Everybody's got that story. So
Or blown something up.
or blown something up. Yeah,
Or both. Really both.
Yeah.
Mostly both.
Meanwhile, we
Is
have
this a NASCAR
whole,
podcast,
I know,
by the
but
way?
we
I
have
don't know.
we had what this hot dog eating
This
contest.
happened-
Oh, we're just having fun.
yeah, Nathan's. Let's
back
talk
to
about
Nathan.
Joey Jaws.
Joey Jaws Chestnut eating 72 damn hot dogs.
Go straight to hell with that. I mean, it's fun, but
I think
no,
my
no
record,
thank you.
my personal record is 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 2.5.
That's a lot of hot dogs.
3 is a
I
lot
mean,
of hot dogs.
I guess
72,
if
I
I
don't
put
even.
ketchup on them, I could probably eat them.
Hey, so
Apparently, I started something today on Twitter with ketchup on hot dogs.
well, that'll happen because you're not. I mean, you do a hot dog the way you do a hot dog, but mustard and relish and maybe some slaw.
Yeah, some slaw. Now I'll put some sauerkraut on there. I ain't afraid of that.
That's
but-
true. Rusty will get straight into that fermented cabbage.
What should we talk?
We were just talking about that before we went on. For Eldora, I think we're going to bring down some Detroit-style dogs and do them in the pits for everybody.
Now, what's Detroit
Well, I'll
dogs?
try one.
What's
What the
Detroit
hell's that
dogs?
mean?
All?
So
I know
Detroit
Chicago. I
style,
know others.
It's a chili sauce, right? No beans. It's just a chili
Oh,
sauce,
boy.
onion and mustard. But
Chili
it's
sauce.
it's
Okay. I
a
like that you
skinned
called
hot
it-
dog. It's got a nice snap to it. Oh, it's good stuff.
I like that you called it chili sauce, and you're not trying to argue that chili without beans is chili. So
All right, no, there's a difference. No, there's a difference.
I like
it's like a religion in Detroit, man. It's something you don't even kind of joke about.
well, we
You know
we're
what's
gonna
funny?
have to
That's
get to the
been on
bottom of.
Twitter a lot. Like chili without beans, you can only eat on a hot dog. That's like
Right.
the only place that's acceptable.
Yeah,
In like Texas, they don't put beans in their chili, and I'm like, we ain't making chili.
you just made soup.
You just made tomatoes and ground beef with chili powder.
yeah.
That's funny.
Oh boy. Well. Now that we've
Now that we pissed everybody in
crapped
Texas
on every
off.
one up, how about some NASCAR?
Yeah. Do we have any
Anybody else?
NASCAR in the show?
Ah, there's
sheet?
some of it. We got driver number, dude. It's episode 105.
Oh, yeah, we always kick off the NASCAR
We got
stuff.
driver number 5. Well, I looked up 05, but it wasn't too exciting. We've got number 5. I think this is the most popular number yet. 121 people have driven the number 5 in
Wow.
the
Damn,
National
number 5 is
Touring
a slut.
Series. I'll tell you what. Terry Labonte with 368 races and 12 wins. That one, I don't think anybody's going to catch up to anytime soon because Casey's only got 197 starts in there. He's still got 160 or 170 left, and we'll see how far that gets.
Yeah, and he's got about
Yeah.
48 races left on his contract with Hendrick.
Yeah.
If he gets to run those.
Right. But 5 wins in that car. Other people that win: Jeff Bodine, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, Kyle Busch, Neil Bonnet, Cotton Owens, Bobby Johns, and listen to this: Morgan Shepherd has won in the number 5 car.
door.
Oh,
Oh man, I didn't know he had won. To be
I didn't
completely
know that
honest,
either.
I
Was-
didn't know.
was he- were they still
Neil Bonnet was the
pedaling
first
with
one
their
that popped
feet
into
back
my
then?
head.
Fellas, I think y'all.
Didn't Casey Mears run the 5?
It's
he run a few
possible.
races
I
in the
went
5?
I went with straight up just people who've won, but that's
Yeah, Mears won a Coke 600 in the 5.
won
Okay.
it. So I missed. I missed one then.
He was in it
Okay.
for 2 years, maybe.
Huh.
He was the bridge between Vickers and
Martin. wasn't
Martin.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh, how about that?
I don't remember that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it
sure
was
enough.
because Junior came over and he took over the quote-unquote 25 ride.
This says he didn't have any
And
wins
Kyle
in
got
that one, but
thunder fired.
and Tiny Lund had 20
Maybe it
races.
was the 25. I don't even know. We're
Yeah, I
screwing
don't
things
know.
up on this thing
Man,
all the time.
It happens.
All right, moving right along.
Right? So, Bobby Johns, who I mentioned right before saying Morgan Shepherd, I did want to mention 4 races in the number 5, 1 win in the number 5. Of his 2 wins in his career, he had one of them in the number 5 and only took him 4 races to do it.
Wow.
He had 141 races over 14 years in the 50s and 60s. He raced, how about this? He raced in the Indy 500. He tried to qualify for it 7 times. He did qualify for it twice. And those 2 times he won 7th and 10th. Talk about just, all
Dang.
right, well, that's what we're doing.
Nice.
So, yep. Bobby Johns passed away in March of last year. Hats off, Mr. Bobby Johns.
Always
He's a man.
hats off,
So,
glasses up.
yeah.
Hats
yep,
off and glasses
and
up.
glasses up. Cheers, Mr. Bobby Johns, for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Right there.
so that takes us to the tearing it down. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know what to do in terms of if Rusty turns the volume up while he's doing this and plays the sound effect correctly. There it is. We're tearing it down and tearing down this podcast. You know what, Sherwin? Pardon the pun. We're a little rusty right now after 2 weeks of. We didn't have a new episode last week. We did the week before. We didn't have one the week before that, so we're finally batting 500 over the last 4 weeks now.
That's right. That's right.
Can we move this up?
So,
And speaking of batting 500, Casey Mears did win the Coke 600 in the 25, but he drove the 5 the next year, his last year with Hendrick.
Okay, there you go.
So we got rectification there.
fact checking on
Then
live.
digging into the Wikipedia.
Nice. If you see Sherwin just go like
If
head
you
down
see
and
me-
eyeballs up.
Yeah, if you see me ghost, that's what's happening.
Yeah. So tearing it down, the summer Daytona race, Stenhouse with the huge win. Fellas, talk to us about that. What are your thoughts?
He proved himself as a legit plate racer, and proved that the Talladega win wasn't a fluke. It was a wreck fest, man, there in stage 3, but, hey, he kept it clean.
Yeah, he did a really good job, and I think, now he's going from being, Danica's boyfriend to, now that's Danica's boyfriend or whatever,
Yep.
So, like, he's done it. I mean, Rex were everywhere, obviously, but he did it. So, and he's done it twice. So, it's hard to argue with, man.
I mean, he wasn't on my radar to win a race this season, and he's won 2. So, I mean,
and both
I
plate
think
tracks, which is crazy to me because I continue to call, and I don't know if this changes my opinion, but I continue to call those tracks just, a 15-sided coin flip,
Yeah.
And for him to come out on top twice in the same year is either against all odds or they got something going, Sherwin.
Yeah, well, obviously Roush has something going with their plate package. I don't know if Yates is giving them a better motor or they're spending a little more time in the wind tunnel. I'm sure they spend a ton of money doing that because everybody does. But, Ricky is he's not been bad at plate tracks. We usually see him show up and be fast at places like Bristol. But it's awesome for him to get a couple wins. That's going to be – I mean, as much as you and I – I'm looking at Rusty. You and I don't root for Fords on our top tier.
Yeah.
Roush being good is kind of like the sport needs that. Kind of like
does,
Childress is the same way. We need those teams to be competitive in order to have like the most parity possible. The fact that Gibbs doesn't have a win yet, I'm slinging this in, is like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Roush has 2 and Joe Gibbs has none?
I would have never called that.
No.
How about that, fellas?
I mean, we got 9 races to go before the playoffs start, and there's the potential to get another 5 to 6 different winners before this thing's said and done. If these people or these drivers that don't have wins yet rack them up before we get to the playoffs, which is just going to make for a interesting reseed after race 26 at Indy.
And I read something that was interesting. Brad Keselowski said that the tire was so good that the cars were so unbelievably easy to drive. And that's what caused a lot of these accidents, is because they were just throwing the cars around anywhere they wanted to. And so, it's not often you hear, the tire was so great. That's not a common conversation, right? Especially not with Kyle Busch. But I thought it was an interesting thing because I hadn't heard that from anyone else. Like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. So, the car's handling great. You're just gonna, toss it wherever and push the subject, but. It caused a few problems.
I totally agree. That is very interesting to hear compliments about tires, but it's also kind of backhanded because it's like,
oh, for sure.
Oh well, we had so much confidence in what the car was doing that we put it in really stupid places.
Well, and that's
so it's still their fault.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Definitely not the driver's fault. That never happens.
Yeah.
And that's funny coming from Brad. Brad, this isn't the first time, and he not complains, but has noted many times, like with the aero package, saying that these cars are too easy to drive, and so that's why people up front, when they have the better aero, they just take off. And he said that for a while. That they're not getting loose, they're not being able to drive it on the edge. You just get to mash the gas and hit your line and be done.
Just pick a line and get stuck in it.
I think we've seen that at tracks like at Atlanta. We've seen that at Fontana, Michigan, even. At these big tracks. once they get on a long green flag run, they're able to separate themselves with that clean air out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You had something, Sherman?
I did, but I lost it a little bit there.
It's all good.
That happens. My thoughts are like in the moment, and if I don't get it out, it doesn't happen. It's fun that Brad's outspoken. That's good. Oh, I know what it was. There was two things I wanted to say real quick. I listen. Obviously, you guys know I listen to an overtly like way too many podcasts.
Ungodly number of
podcasts.
You found us.
That's where I seek entertainment and knowledge. And so what I listened to today was Door Bumper Clear, and it was Brett and TJ talking about Ryan Blaney. It's like, dude, you do not have to side draft exiting and entering every corner on every lap at a plate race. Like,
it's going to be stressful.
Just ride for a while, dude.
Right.
F's sake. The other thing was, if you haven't listened to Nate Ryan's with Steve O'Donnell, it's super fascinating because he started talking about fun things like no more backstretch line for the green-white checkered thing.
I got to check that out.
And he was talking about Gen 7 coming within 2 to 4 years and not having a splitter.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially not having a splitter.
Holy crap on a Tito.
That would be the first thing I'd take off, man.
Yeah, so those are really fun things.
We'll start from there.
So, everybody that's listening or watching or whatever you're going to do, go check out Nate Ryan's podcast with Steve O'Donnell. You won't regret it.
That's fantastic. And, wow, that's cool. They're actually listening, maybe. But so it was it the Xfinity race? The end of it or what was it this last week where, Twitter was a storm about the overtime line, as we call it. Y'all remember what that was?
That was the Xfinity race, right?
Yeah, that was Xfinity race. Yeah. Ended up, so Sherman, I was telling you, I saw the Xfinity race. I actually saw stage 2 of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw the second stage, and I watched that, and it was such good racing. And I was like, wow, Daytona really looks good. And then I had to go off and do something. And I came back, I checked Twitter later, and everybody's pissed off. And I went, oh, man, that's a bummer. Yeah, I was bummed out that the end of stage 2 was so good. Because here's what happened. I remember what it was Elliott Sadler was like in 3rd or 4th on the restart. He comes around and he took the stage. And I was all excited. It was fun to watch. Right beforehand, I was telling people, well, here's Elliott Sadler. I'd love to see him take this stage. And boom, he took it. And it took a lot of hard driving to get there. And then, like I said, I checked Twitter later, and something happened at the end of that race. I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't watching it.
Yeah, I missed the whole thing. That's 2 in a row for Byron. Chance to go for 3 in a row this weekend. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, honestly, look, he was, inches away from beating Hamlin, who had an illegal car.
Cheater!
Been a while since we had that segment.
No, I'm just saying, like that Byron kid, he might, want to write his name down. He might have a future in this yet.
No, and no need to belabor the point, but I will anyway because that's my personality. Hamlin celebrated that win like it was the first one he'd ever had.
Yep.
With the cheated ass up car.
Yep. I tweeted that out. I'm like, what the heck? This guy's celebrating like he just won, the Daytona 500 and the championship all in one. It's an Xfinity race. And he beat a 19-year-old.
And Rusty and I ain't scared to throw some shade at Denny Hamlin.
He stole his lunch money and his sucker. And
find a fat kid to sit on him?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll sit on him.
Not to be outdone necessarily, but Bowyer knocking on the door, man.
He's sniffing.
I'll tell you what.
He's a hound dog right now. He's sniffing.
How cool is it to see him in just the rebirth here of Clint Bowyer?
How much
where he was
better
so
is
much
his
fun to watch.
attitude?
His attitude. This is like
I want to
Dale
see him win
Jr.
at
almost.
Richmond.
This is second year at Michael Waltrip, Clint Bowyer.
Mm-hmm.
Fun, having partying, doing. Well, of course he's got the kid. I don't mean partying like he's making bad decisions, but like he's having a good time, like he's enjoying what he's doing. And yes, he's on the verge. We're just kind of waiting. We're waiting around for when he's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he got sent to like NASCAR purgatory, for a year.
Sure.
and just had to be an also ran, and and that's got to drive you crazy.
Well, when you got the talent, you just don't have
the car
equipment underneath you to do it.
What's wild, I think some of us maybe not forgot. I mean, it's not that I forgot his talent. It's just one of those like, all right, well, what's Clint going to do? And now he's showing us. Look what I can do in the right ride, in the right
I remember
equipment.
sitting there watching and just going like, all right, I'll just wait till next year. Like I didn't want to write him off, but you almost had to write him off. And it's like, all right, next year will be better for him. And sure enough, he's come alive.
Better than I thought it'd be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, we've kind of had this unofficial sort of, we'll call it rivalry going on here with the Lap Traffic Boys on picks every week. And Sherwin, I would say it was...
You're breaking up. Are you driving through a tunnel?
Well, I tell you, didn't y'all win this week? Like
we did.
We did, yeah.
By
default.
Like on a technicality slash...
A couple 30 placement. It was like 36 to 34th or 32nd.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So, hey, a win is a win, one in the W column. We're not keeping up with places and stuff. So, y'all totally took that one or whatever. But yeah, not a great pick week for any of the four of us. You would think just by luck we might do something, but I think our best finisher among the four of us was 22nd with Chase Elliott.
Nice. Woohoo! That was me.
Yeah. So if
nice job, buddy.
If you think for a second that we have any idea what we're talking about here, other than just sitting here drinking beer and having fun, then
Daytona and those plate races are.
Our coin flips.
We need a magic 8-ball. You know, I mean, that's what we need.
I'm just going to start picking Stenhouse for the rest of them.
Yeah, be safe.
Well, so here's
everyone's going to take him at Talladega in the playoffs. Watch him wreck on that 5
off the bumper of Kyle Busch, because that's what he does at plate traffic. That's going to get that crowd mad. I'm just going to make everybody mad tonight. Here's the thing that's funny to me: they look like coin flips, but that's mostly for who's going to finish the race. If you go back and look at all the plate races in the last, call it 10 years, who won them, there's only 2 or 3 that are really odd.
Mm-hmm.
And now, take one of those out with Keselowski winning with Phoenix Racing, because it's pretty obvious he knows what he's doing in a plate car.
Yeah, he does.
So, really, you have Reagan, and I couldn't even tell you the other one, Vickers, because he wrecked the 2 guys that were leading when he wrecked Junior and Jimmy. Like, the winner typically still is somebody that is a prominent winning racer.
Yeah, and that's a good eye there with that, because David Reagan really does know how to plate race, and it seems like almost it doesn't matter what car he's in, he's in that top 10 all day long.
Yeah, well, I mean he's like the Michael Waltrip of today.
The winners, look at some of the guys that finished second quite a few times. They're up there, like David Gilliland. He used to be a great pusher, especially when they were, in the tandem racing days. I think he finished second or fourth quite a few times where if, things worked in his favor and he was getting pushed, he might have won a couple plate races.
Sure. Well, how many times did Kurt Busch finish second before he finally won the 500?
There was a bunch.
Yeah.
It was not 2. It was more than 2.
Yeah. It was more than random. So, what else going on this week? I mean, we had a few interesting Twitter exchanges. Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott. Let's start there, Sherwin.
Yeah. So, Chase Elliott wrecks, and he unleashes a very Chase Elliott-like tirade, which is, he even said MFer instead of the actual, all of the syllables. There were some cuss words mixed in that NBC or Fox or whoever had to bleep, but...
Yeah.
Basically called Michael McDowell a very unintelligent racer. And so Michael McDowell decided that he was going to tweet over the top of that at Chase Elliott. Like, this was NASCAR that had published this video at NASCAR. And he said, I wonder if when Chase Elliott goes back and watches these replays, if he realizes he's actually wrecking himself. And it was like, oh, this could get fun.
Yeah.
In a hurry. Now, what we don't know in this new world of NASCAR, where drivers are like seemingly friends but not, or seemingly not friends but are, Kyle Busch and Dale Jr., is did Michael McDowell send a tweet to Chase and say, I'm fixing to do this. What do you think? And Chase be like, yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
We don't know that, and I'm just creating extra conspiracy by saying it. But
Well, we know Tony's no stranger to conspiracy. No, just kidding. But hey, who was it a couple weeks ago? Someone said something about NASCAR needs more drama and all that. Who knows what kind of behind the scenes?
It was that asshole from the Detroit Free Press.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's y'all's people. What the hell?
Don't y'all know that guy?
But, yeah. That's who it was. Yeah, it's right here in our backyard.
Right?
Yeah, so that's funny. And so I think to finish that series about Chase and McDowell is Napa, with their Twitter handle, went on and said, you know what, we're glad our driver's passionate. Sometimes they say things on the radio that, they might regret, but we're sticking by him or whatever. And I'm like, this is what sponsors need to do. If you want personality, the sponsor has to do things like that.
Yeah, or at least support it. I mean, I have cussed you out harder than I've ever cussed before while we were racing the little go-karts.
Right.
And we get out of the cart, and it was like, that was so much fun. Holy crap, yes, let's do it again. Yeah, didn't even mention the part where I called you and all your family members and all of your friends that aren't me, all kinds of names. But that's what it's all about, though. You just get caught in the
audio while the kid's spinning through the grass at 170 miles an hour, and he's just got that button mashed.
But there's a line there, so right. So we talked to Rick Allen, who did the call for NBC. He was on the show a couple weeks ago, and we asked him about that. Like, is it too? I mean, do you really want to talk to someone at 10 seconds after they came out of the infield care center? And his response was, "That's a great thing about NASCAR." Is you're getting it right out of the tap, right? You're not getting what some PR person, cleaned up and polished for you to hear. You don't want to hear that, right? I guess there's a line, probably, Kurt or Kyle Busch going up to his second knuckle up, digging up in his nose the other day. I'm sure M&M's didn't want to see that, but
it was hilarious.
It's a fine line, but it's cool at the same time. It is cool.
Like the NFL, you get your mic'd helmets and all that kind of stuff, which, they don't play that live, or if they do, they know it's going to be kosher, and you're talking to you're hearing drivers live while we're sitting in our living room listening to the scanner, or on the track. That is one hell of a cool feature.
Straight out of the tap, baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and quick plug real quick, just because not just because you mentioned it, but because it deserves being mentioned. Having Rick Allen on last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Great show there, by the way, and that was so much fun to listen to. And
he was cool.
Yeah, that was the cool part. It just seemed like, oh, this is a cool dude. And he happens.
Well, the funny thing is, we talked to him for 20 minutes before we even hit record, and then 20 minutes after when we were done with the interview.
Oh, that's badass.
He gave us so much time. It was awesome.
And was just like a normal dude. Just busting our stones, like right from, word one was, hey, how come I'm not in the man cave? What the hell? He was honest and having a good time. So definitely a good dude.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So everybody who's listening, if you haven't caught that, definitely catch that show. That's a blast. So the other big Twitter deal, Kyle Larson blowing up Twitter. But we talked about this in kind of what we'll call the pre-show before we had all the technical difficulties. But Kyle Larson blowing up Twitter about the merchandise and all that. Fellas, y'all want to get us up to date on what it is, and we'll just make some comments.
So he tweets out, some fan tweeted about if a driver's signing autographs at the merch trailer, they'll stop and get it. And he responded with, it's really not worth his time to be there for an hour. He might make about $50. And that $50, I think, comment set off a whirlwind of fire. He did not make many friends today on Twitter.
No.
Yeah.
So,
I'm curious what his follower count was before and what it is now, because I would bet it's probably gone down a little bit. And I bet his PR rep was like, "Oh shit!"
Delete. They're like, put down the phone. Put down the phone.
Well, and that on the heels of 6 straight sprint car wins.
Yeah,
exactly. He's killing it.
And so they're doing the Pennsylvania Tour right now, which apparently is just about the most awesome thing in open wheel dirt racing, and he's kicking everybody's ass. And somebody had tweeted out that he made $13,000 in one night at a dirt race.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that kick started this snowball that is believe is still gathering volume and speed, about how little these guys that are at the mid or junior level, if we'll call it, of NASCAR Cup racing in terms of merchandise sales, like how little money they actually get. And I mean, we've seen like, so you guys, you got your merch department. You guys, that's awesome, by the way. I really want to support that. But you know that there's like, you got a little sliver of a pie that has to feed a lot of people. And it sounds like even at the Cup level, it's the same way.
Or worse.
Well, I got to think that, Fanatics, and this was something I didn't realize, and I tried to find out before we went to Michigan. They brought back the haulers. Okay, great. They brought back the haulers. But it's not the old school haulers. It's Fanatics selling the Fanatics stuff in driver-sponsored haulers. Like,
oh, that's bullshit.
It's not like that. You don't get the personalized memorabilia or personalized merchandise for each individual driver like you used to. Yeah, there's the haulers, but it's the Fanatics stuff that they're just selling from there, which really annoyed me.
But to be fair, Fanatics pays a hell of a lot of money.
Oh, they do.
To get that, right?
Which is why the drivers aren't getting much because of the amount of money, So it's
one or the other, right? Yeah. Which one do you want,
Yeah.
Well, the Brian France conglomerate is getting a lot of that money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The hard part for me, I really liked, for whatever reason, now I'm trying to remember why I did, but I really liked the idea of the whole tent thing, and I thought,
I liked it until we saw what it was.
Right, because I walked in and I was like, all right, one-stop shopping, I need to get me a Bubba Wallace hat. Nope, doesn't exist.
Yeah, where the hell's that at?
Can't get it nowhere. All
Greg
right,
Biffle didn't have 1 ounce of merch in the first Fanatics tent you and I walked in, and we were like, how in the hell is that possible?
Right, so it became a little like, oh, this is weird now. Like, who has it and who doesn't? And, like...
Casey stuff was crap, so I bought a Chase Elliott hat.
Yeah. I couldn't find any Casey crap this time. And I always buy something because I want the 2017 version of my hat.
I tweeted out a panorama of all my Casey hats.
Yeah.
And then the 2 I bought this year that were not Casey. I bought a Chase Elliott hat, and I bought a Ryan Blaney hat. And that I tweeted that out to prove a point, is that I'm going to buy a hat every year. I want to support my favorite driver unless their stuff sucks or it's not available.
But now you can always go across the street to the little flea market carnival dude, so you can find all that stuff. What do you want? You want a Morgan Shepherd hat? We got it right here.
That's true.
All right, I want a Morgan Shepherd. Let's pause the podcast. I want a Morgan Shepherd hat.
For Darlington.
That would be cool, actually.
I kind of half-assed thought of this idea last year that we would do throwback T-shirts for Darlington. Like this year, it's for sure happening. Somehow, some way.
I'm in. That'll be awesome.
There's going to be some day glow, bright colors.
Yeah. So kind of rounding out that whole conversation, it seemed like Kyle Larson, unfortunately, had a good point that was something that needed about 8,000 characters to
finish
the thought.
Yeah.
And he only had the 140 and totally blew it because I mean, just the fact that they don't get any of that, hardly any of that money or whatever, and that's what you always talk about in other racing leagues and stuff is that's where the money is in the merch. I mean, these guys they'll sell a $25 T-shirt and get $20 out of it, and it seems like in the Cup level they'll sell a $25 T-shirt and the team/driver might get $1 off of it.
$2, $1,
yeah.
50 cents.
So interesting.
It's like the artists for iTunes. They charge $1.29 a song. I think they get the 29 cents.
Right. But it's also kind of hard to
but you
feel
know
bad
what?
For him. Not really. Not really feeling that bad for you, buddy. Got to be honest with you.
Well,
there is that. There's a lot of prize money being won, but
maybe he speaks for other people better.
I like the way. I don't know. I don't mind him speaking his point. I get where the fan was at, like telling you, "Oh, your time's not worth my time," and it's like, okay, well, how deeply we're going to get into criticizing the way a public figure acts, or an entertainer, or a professional athlete act? Like, I don't know. I tend to suspend my thought on that quite a bit. Like, okay, so he had a moment. Hey, you know what he was doing, though? He was tweeting at people.
That's a good point. He was interacting.
He wasn't hiding.
Yeah.
He was interacting.
I don't know. I mean, it's a fine line, obviously.
This tastes like a 100 proof caramel chew This is
Awesome.
fantastic. The Henry
Rusty's-
By the
McKenna.
way, I'm on to my other glass.
Rusty's
Well done.
got into the Henry McKenna.
Yeah. If you're watching me on the YouTube or the video or something, I was all up in it with my teeth trying to get that thing open.
Teeth. Toofuses.
So this is the first time I would say that we've had fellow podcasters on the show, and Sherwin, you put a cool note in here or an open conversation kind of thing about navigating the world of both being fans versus producing media content. And I won't say this, well, not to show off in terms of what we're talking about here, but like when me and you were up in the media booth at Atlanta Motor Speedway a couple weeks ago for Thursday Night Thunder, it's like, we need to act like professionals now and not be the rednecks that we actually are.
We learned that lesson in about 15 seconds at Michigan International.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
So-
you guys were there for a cup
I
race.
walk into the media center with my lap traffic T-shirt on. He's like, "Hey, you want to put a polo on tomorrow?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, no problem." Went and bought a $64 NASCAR polo,
Yeah.
so I had that to put on.
Yeah. Didn't say hi. Didn't say
No,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what has y'all's take been on that, and how's that? Has it changed how you're looking at the sport and all that? Just having started done the podcast, or is it just same old? Hey, this is what we do.
So, like for me, I've always been a pretty objective person, even though I can be a fanboy too, as you all know with Kevin Harvick.
Mhm.
But I think from the like a Twitter perspective, I don't want to shun anybody away because they think, oh, that's all we're going to talk about is Kevin Harvick. I try not to talk about him unless Tony wants to crack a joke about it or something like that on the show. But I can definitely say I haven't been reserved in the social media aspect, but I've definitely tried to approach it with a more open mind, just because we don't want just 5 people listening to us. We want to attract as many people to what we're doing as possible.
Yeah, and for me, it's and it's always something that I've always done. Maybe it's the crew chief in me, but I'm always trying to find the next hot shoe. I like watching. That's why I like watching the Truck Series so much. That's in the Xfinity Series and watching some of these young guys. Even though they have no personalities, and that's the problem with NASCAR or whatever. But I like watching these young guys come up and finding out who can really drive the wheels off a car. And that's, for me, having access to more of that stuff by doing this, that's really it's been super fun for me.
Yeah, and Sherwin, since you asked the question, what I'll say is the reason we started this whole thing is just us sitting around talking NASCAR for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, get a few beers on us, 8 hours, and finally going, you know what, why don't we just record ourselves doing this and just have some fun with it, figure out this whole podcasting thing. Me and you were getting into the whole podcast deal, and I feel like I want that to continue to be the thing. Just, hey, we're just sitting around talking about NASCAR just like we would anywhere else, maybe slightly more structured in terms of what we're actually going to talk about. But the fact that we're just talking as fans or whatever, and I hope that extends to like when we get these opportunities, like going to Atlanta Motor Speedway, that we are like, oh well, what's our perspective? What would we be talking about at this thing if we had this opportunity outside of being podcasters?
Well, I tell you, it's given us like the coolest hobby in the world. Like never
Right?
in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be sitting in my basement talking to Landon Castle on the phone. Like, I never
super
could have
cool.
fathomed that. Or like the Orange Cone. Like I can't believe we had him on the podcast. It was just like the coolest thing in the world.
NASCAR chasm.
Yeah,
That
That's
guy's
funny.
cool as hell.
That dude's really funny.
So we got some questions. Let's roll through some questions.
Sure.
Weslin at WESLYNFUGATE. Weslin Fugate. What are your thoughts going forward for playoffs? Gonna have to win to get in, or what's the story here, fellas?
See, I don't know if winning in. I don't know about that because we had so many winners coming out this year. I don't know that that's even going to be true. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know that that's an automatic in. But I think you should get bonus points and all that stuff. Obviously, you won the race, but and I'm not sure about what's that word they use for Joey.
Oh, encumbered.
Cucumbered.
I'm not even
Cucumbered.
sure what the hell that still means, but
The cucumber win.
Anyway, yeah, right, yeah. I'm thinking like I get a salad. I don't even know what you're talking about, but
Yeah, I think NASCAR is approaching the open mouth insert foot with the win and you're in. I want to see 17 different winners. I want someone that wins not to make it, so that they. I don't want the Jeff Gordon situation that happened a couple years ago, where on a technicality they had 17 drivers, or was it 12 at the time, and 13 made the playoffs. I don't want that to happen because we get 17 different winners. I want someone not to make it with a win.
Yeah,
interesting. Just see what happens.
All up in that. That has been my desire since they started this process. Since they announced win and you're in, I've wanted them have to eat that poop burger. When somebody
100%, 100%,
just to see what happens.
Hey, y'all are the first ones.
I mean, so here's the thing, and I don't know where you guys are at on this, and I'm assuming that if we had some NASCAR exec that we got to sit in the room with, like we did Ed Clark, they would probably express some very similar sentiments. As, hey, I don't like what you're saying in public, but I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like, can you tone it down a notch? But yes, like I don't mind NASCAR on occasion looking stupid, and that's why I went out of my way today to promote Nate Ryan having Steve O'Donnell, because he gave us some transparency today that we don't have. And I tweet at Steve O'Donnell all the time, Odd Steve, at Odd Steve, all lowercase, senior vice president of NASCAR. He pretty much makes the competition decisions at the top level. And it's like, man, what is going on? What are you doing? But, like, that's why I want to see 17 winners.
Yeah, yeah. So going to have to win to get in. I mean, with all this, just to answer the question, yes, you're going to have to win to get in, and maybe some more. Is the
and that's my point. Exactly.
Yeah, and if you're Junior, absolutely. The only way Junior makes it in the playoffs is if he wins a race.
Which also means, by the way, so with all the Gibbs drivers that we have, they've all got to win to get in. So there's going to be all right. Follow-up question: how many Gibbs drivers are not going to make it?
Well, that's a good question. Hold on, guys, and I'll let you get this, but I'll tell you this right now. Kenseth is in on points if we started today, but only by like 5.
Yeah, I mean, but somebody else is going to win. You know,
somebody's going to
Kyle win, or Kenseth will win.
Tony and Brandon, how many Joe Gibbs drivers make it to the playoffs?
I'm going to say 3.
Look at you.
Wow.
2.
That's ballsy.
I mean, I don't see Kyle Busch not getting a win, and I see at least one other getting it and someone probably making. I don't think we're going to get our dream of 17 different winners, so they will probably have the one that gets in on points.
Okay.
And we're talking about you're saying in 9 races, we're going to have 3 Gibbs wins, is what you're saying.
I think it's possible.
Different.
I mean,
drivers.
You got Kyle Busch, who's bound to get. I mean, I'm shocked.
He's the only one that's been fast.
Yes.
It feels like he can will his way into a win at some point. Like
except for he doesn't have the mental strength to do that, which is why he hasn't. Which is funny to me. I mean, I'm not.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he should have won 6 races already, and he didn't win any of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm saying honestly, I'm going to go also with I'm going to agree with Brandon. You guys know how much that pisses me off, but I'll agree with him. I think Kyle will win one because you're right. He's going to force the issue. It will happen. And I saw a lot out of Matt Kenseth in Michigan. You know, he really he's looking really fast.
If it wasn't for 2 pit road penalties, he
slid through his box twice.
One of the biggest pit roads there in the
sneaky
circuit.
Fast.
Yeah, they just got to.
He is sneaky fast, right?
Got to cross the T's and dot the I's there, and they've got something. So we're going with. So I heard Brandon with 3, and Tony, you're at 2.
And we've got a Loudon and a Pocono race.
So I'm just going to go with 1 and just see what happens. Just to put something out there.
You know what? I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to double down on your bet, and I'm going to say that Suarez is the one that's.
I was about to say that it won't be Kyle, just for fun, and you're going with I'm going with the negative Kyle. You're going with the positive Suarez.
Stir the pot, baby. Stir that pot.
And it's not that I'm like Kyle hater or anything, but yeah. I mean, it is 9 races, and I think I would say 3 is about as outrageous, like on different sides of the bounds, as Suarez being the only done.
Well, think about it. If we don't get to 17 winners, think about who we've got in the field already that would feel a little bit different than maybe.
Well, so that's a good
we've
point.
Got
Maybe I'm just
Stenhouse,
thinking winners.
We've got Dylan and we've got Blaney. Those guys are in if we only have 16 winners because Joey will be the outside man looking in.
And Newman.
Newman. Great call. Thank you for remembering that. So we've got four different drivers that maybe you kind of looked at the start of the season and went, well, we think Blaney's going to win a race eventually, but can the Wood brothers get to the place where they're fast enough? Okay, well, never mind.
Done. Check
Found
that.
Can Roush reemerge from like basically the depths of despair? Did it at what we call coin flip racetracks, but I think we already chronicled quite well the fact that even though that's the case for half the field, the front half of the field typically has winners in it.
Yep. Well, with that, let's go to question 2. Mick at GoDucks42 _ Mick. Y'all know Mick. Approaching halfway through the season. Thumbs up or thumbs down on stage racing, fellas?
I'm 2 thumbs up.
Yeah,
2 thumbs up.
Absolutely. Honestly, I was asking before they even announced this, like, something to break it up a little bit, like heat racing even. Heat racing wouldn't be the answer, but this is pretty close to it, and you got to earn your way in or something like that, just to break it up. Yeah.
The only thing I'd like to see them do is cut down the amount of laps wasted between the pit stops, the interview for TV, the interview for radio. I'd like to see them reduce, or if they're going to do all that, let's not count the caution laps between the two stages.
Please.
For the love of God. And so this played out on Twitter over either this weekend or last weekend with one of our favorite people, a favorite guest, Weaver. And he's like, so if you're not going to count the laps, you got to shorten the race. No, you do not.
No.
Yeah, so
college football games last 4 hours and 15 minutes in prime time. If you play the noon major game, the 4 o'clock major game, or the 8 o'clock major game, that game lasts 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So totally agree with what you're saying there. I will say that what we were promised, maybe whether it was NASCAR wouldn't admit to throwing phantom cautions. But the idea was, hey, with these stage races, we're not going to have to resort to the phantom cautions anymore, and then we get like the cowboy hat caution, and so it's like, didn't we do this whole stage thing so we don't have to do that? What's the deal here? If you want another stage, put another stage in the damn race. Yeah.
So and. Not to belabor the point, like I think I've used that word too many times tonight, which is like twice. Steve O'Donnell talked about that on Nate Ryan's podcast because Nate Ryan asked him direct, like, was the reason why Sonoma we didn't have cautions, even though cars were going all over the place.
And that was great.
Was because of the backlash of what happened in Michigan, and he basically said yes.
Wow.
So there you have it. Go listen.
When they came out with the stages, I was thrilled to death, but I thought it was going to be the exact opposite. I thought they would have the longer stage at the front and 2 shorters to end it to create that excitement and buzz that I think NASCAR was going for. So you have, an 80-lap run at Michigan. Yeah, it's going to get spaced out. So I thought, when there was all these rumors about they're going to try to break it up, I really thought it would be flip-flopped, and I was surprised that it came out with the third stage being the longest.
And the reason
stage.
that they did, if you are any short track you've ever been to, they have short heat races, and then you have the long feature race. So that part didn't surprise me. Here's a funny thing. I had an opportunity. I talked to Michael Waltrip at a trade show just after they announced this, and he said, really, it's the clock. That they used, the caution clock that they used in Truck Series. He's like, it's pretty much the same thing. He goes, y'all, in his words, y'all just gave it a dumb name, with the caution clock.
Yeah.
But it kind of is. So they're kind of inched up to it, with the Truck Series, but now when it is instead of the caution clock coming on. So I like it.
Well, I would agree, and so I thought what the whole point of it is it's a TV audience thing. Obviously, we get planned cautions so teams can make different decisions about car setups and tire pressures and stuff. But I thought the whole point of it was to front load the commercials so that on the back end of the race we would get as much green flag racing as we could possibly see.
Mm-hmm.
And NASCAR really, and his TV partner Fox really committed to the side-by-side late in the race. I thought that was a big change. So that's why I thought I understand what Brandon's sentiment is about. Well, certainly if you did those shorter segments at the end, you would probably create some drama that wouldn't normally exist in what we think is traditional NASCAR Cup racing. But I kind of like the fact that you have to make a pit stop in the last segment. It adds the team aspect back in. It's not a did we get the car right, and can the driver just cruise?
Yeah. So takes us to our third question. Cameron Tracy at Conrail_1. I'll kind of shorten the question. Just say, what's your favorite memory so far on the show? What's the best thing yet
on your show?
Yep, on your show.
Tony?
I would say would it be the Rick Allen show a couple weeks ago. Here's the thing. So Rick's obviously he's the NBC lead guy, right? We watch him every week now, and he took so much time to either he did or somebody did. He knew Brandon and I's names. He could tell our voices apart. He knew our backgrounds. He knew how many shows we'd done. And he really did his homework, and he was really, really cool. And so I asked him a question on Sir. So I used to be a short track announcer. And so I said, hey, tell us about your journey. I mean, we're kind of similar. And he says, well, I went on the internet and I looked up this story about this guy named Tony Smith. And, and just totally busting my stomachs, right? But he, and I'm like, so it was just that, to me, that was really cool. Like the guy took time to know our stories and know who we were, and that was cool.
Wow.
For me, the guests have been incredible, and never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd ever get to this point. But I think the fact that, for me, the coolest thing is logging in on like Thursday morning after we post the show on Wednesday and seeing how many people download the show and listen to us in the first 24-hour period of us posting. I mean, it's heartwarming to know that people like what we're doing. And literally, when we kicked around this idea, we're like, we'll probably just be talking to ourselves. I never in my wildest dreams imagined the interaction, the support, and where this was going to go. And for me, I mean, like I said, the guests, that's incredible and that's remarkable. But the support from social media has just been amazing.
I thought we'd have 500 or 600 downloads by this point.
Yeah,
and be feeling pretty good about it.
It's remarkable.
And you got to up the game. Sherwin, best moment.
Golly, it's hard to pick a best moment. I think some of the stories that we've told about the past is probably some of the most fun that I have.
Yeah,
like just telling and people tweeting at us about that story.
Oh yeah,
stuff like
and
that.
It becomes everybody's story. That's that's.
Right.
It's so cool, but I mean, to touch on Tony's point or Brandon's point, excuse me, about like knowing that people are paying attention is pretty important to feeling good about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And having people like Matt Weaver and Tommy Joe Martins that are willing to participate on a very regular basis.
Yeah.
Like it feels like such a fun space. So it's hard. I have a hard time pinpointing. This is the moment I thought we did our best thing, because I think those things are all still to come. But
for sure,
like this right here feels like maybe when I listen tomorrow morning to this podcast and critique it, because that's what I do. I'll say, "Wow, this might have been our best moment."
Yeah, we'll see. So for me, it's all about the firsts in this thing, because I mean we're just couple of dudes just talking about NASCAR. I always say that. We're just two dudes talking about NASCAR. And the first time, like the Tommy Joe came on, I think, and being among the first drivers on the show. And so the first time you actually talk to a driver and they're willing to sit down and they're willing to like take time out of their day to sit here and talk to you, some jackhole that they should not care about, but they do. and they're getting, and especially Tommy Joe gets deep, you know.
Yeah, he does.
And it's awesome. It's awesome to hear him and just building that camaraderie and stuff. But I think the first time, you know, I told everybody, like I was walking around, my wife, I'm like, guess who we got tonight? We got a driver on tonight. I go to work. They don't give a crap about NASCAR. I go to work and I'm telling everybody, I've got a driver on. Oh yeah, that's good for you. You don't understand, you peon. Like they just. So
that was like
I think
with us.
that's
We had Landon Castle on, and we had these pre-scripted questions. We sent him to a PR person. We thought we were going to have like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
With the guy, we must have talked 20, 30 minutes before the show,
totally.
right? Before the show, and then
Yeah.
half an hour on the show. And
Mike Herman Jr. was the same way.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Ricky Stenhouse's spotter, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because that's what you know. What's a day in the life of a spotter at Talladega like? Holy jeez! I don't know. Man,
Busy
Inside-
as a mofo.
Inside, outside, inside,
Yeah.
outside, inside, outside.
Lots of batteries.
Inside, outside.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I say
Clear.
inside?
Clear.
I meant outside.
Yeah.
Clear up.
Clear up.
Clear. You sure about that?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, speaking of it, I got to interject here. So I don't know if y'all heard this because I don't know if you listened to Door Bumper Clear yet this week or if you listened to it
have
at all.
not.
But Spotter Brett and TJ Majors both like slung a pile of ish towards the guy that spotted for William Byron at I guess it was Iowa, because Earl Barbin, who normally spots for Jimmy Johnson, usually spots for William when they have companion races. And this dude was like basically taking credit for the whole win. It was like, dude, y'all didn't even want him supposed to win that race, and he did, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But like it was those guys are like quasi teammates, and they were slinging mud.
Wow.
Hey man,
Wow.
you just lost the respect of the entire roof by your behavior on Dave Moody's show
Yeah.
on
Yep.
Sirius. Like, whoa.
Look out. I think it's time to gas it up. Let's get this thing going. We are going
Going
to
into PETM overtime.
Kentucky. Yeah, PTM overtime here. I like it. Where's that overtime line? It's back there somewhere,
It's
about a mile
way
away.
over there because we got about 20 minutes of content to
Oh,
go.
that's right. It's going to Kentucky. Fellas, what are y'all looking forward to?
Mile and a half under the lights. Haven't had that, I think, yet this year, so that should be fun. I enjoy night races, mainly because then my wife isn't complaining at me all Sunday afternoon because I'm sitting in front of the
Glued to
TV.
the
So
TV.
it allows me to enjoy the race a little bit more on a Saturday night than Sunday. So I don't mind. I love night racing.
Yeah, I do too, and I think honestly this might be the time when I think this is when the 18 car is going to push through.
Oh,
It's
look
fourth
out.
quarter.
Look
It's
out.
fourth quarter.
Time to
Well,
go.
I was hoping somebody would bring that up.
Is it time to do picks?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Okay.
No, you're not wrong, Tony. This is definitely a Kyle Busch racetrack. I think one of the things I tweeted it out on Sunday afternoon. I said, you know what? I've loved Saturday night racing right up until 2 p.m. on Sunday, and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do love night racing.
Y'all ever forgot there was a night race? This was a while back, too. But, I mean, you grab a beer, you pop it open, you start drinking, you turn on the TV, and it's like Days of Our Lives or something. What the hell?
Yeah.
How did this happen? I don't even.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why not? Let's do some picks.
Yeah, let's do the picks, y'all. So, I mean, to do this,
Clearly, we know who I'm picking. So
doing this live is real fun.
Premature
Actually,
again.
this is really cool. So yeah, Tony, we've got the Kyle. Tell us about the Kyle Busch pick. What's the story? Why are you feeling that?
I don't. It's time to go for him. I mean, the pressure is mounting. It's a mile and a half track. I mean, that's just got Kyle Busch written all over it, and he's getting.
Uh-oh. Look like we got
He's
a
got
little.
to break. He's got to break through.
There it is. Had a little hiccup there
did.
on the
We had
video,
about
but
a
that's all good.
2 second.
We
blip
had you
That
there.
was weird.
No, it's the first time all night. No, it's all good. Yeah, we got you there. Brandon?
I'm going to go back to back with Chase Elliott this week.
Wow.
Look at
Okay.
you.
Doubling up.
I think he's got something to prove after Daytona last week and all that. So I'm going to go back to back with Chase Elliott.
All right.
Cool.
Sherwin, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You want to do it?
Yep.
Go for it.
Wood Brothers, number 21, Ryan Blaney.
Look out. Look out.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
What's the
Good
story?
Kid's fast, man, and that track is weird.
Yeah,
like
it is.
Pocono. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
it's
is.
not Pocono, but it's weird. So
I like it.
like
I like
Blaney
it.
at a weird track.
Boy, these picks are great, and I love that nobody's picked mine yet. So if you remember, I believe last year it was Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards with a 0.1 second differential, and Carl Edwards isn't in the sport anymore.
So
And everybody else was 8 to 10 seconds behind. So I am not picking Brad Keselowski though.
oh my goodness!
No.
If you look back, third, fifth, and seventh, we're all SHR. I'm picking Clint Boyer, boys.
Yeah,
Nice.
Wow.
So
Nice.
SHR.
I wouldn't
I
be
like
upset
it.
about
Yes,
that.
sir. Let's do this. So there you go.
Yeah.
Team Ford
all right.
performance.
Mixed bag there.
We've been doing this. This is the 6th week now. I think this is only the second time we've had 4 different picks.
One, yeah.
Well,
We usually Sherwin and I always pick the same person.
That's true.
It's-
That's
Yeah.
true. It's because I listen to y'all's podcast halfway drunk,
Clearly.
and then I do our podcast 3/4 of the way drunk, and I make the picks all the way drunk. So I really don't know what you picked. I don't remember.
There's a lot of math in that, and I'm too drunk for that
Yeah.
math. Let's do the
Way more math than I want to do.
before we get too crazy, y'all, I mean, we got to talk about Eldora a little bit. I mean, I know we still got a week and a half, something like that going. But shoot, we were talking about it in the pre-show. We're going, I don't even know what to say. Sherwin and I,
We're going dirt racing.
We're going
NASCAR,
dirt
baby.
racing. Y'all are driving down there.
both playing in
We're
dirt.
meeting the other folks. I mean, everybody's going. And,
We're getting on a damn airplane to go to a race.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
cool. That's
second
awesome.
time ever. Actually,
Yeah, we did it. We went to Vegas 2009, February.
Yeah, and so
Nice.
we're. But this one it just seems way crazier
This
and
feels
over the
very
top.
different.
Like we're staying there as opposed to Vegas. We're staying in
True, we were,
in
with
the
your
city or
parents
whatever, and
and
so
doing
now
casinos.
we're staying there. So we gotta. Luckily, Sherwin and I both got status with Delta and stuff, so we can check 1 billion bags for free, and might
Nice.
even pay him to
show
do
up with 300 pounds of luggage.
it could be. And we've got all the stuff. We've got the backpacking stuff. We got the tents. We might surprise people in the amount of crap we bring on a plane.
That's what I was telling these guys when I was on them a couple weeks ago. I'm like, y'all gonna be surprised. Y'all see how much crap we bring on an airplane.
They're gonna have to charter that whole bottom section for PTM.
Hopefully, there's not but 15 people going to
Oh,
Fort Wayne,
man.
Indiana on July 18th.
That's a good point,
Yes.
fellas. What are y'all looking
Please.
forward to? Talk to us.
Not to say we're vets at Eldora, but we went last year. We had a blast. It was kind of spur of the moment where we were like,
Yeah.
"Do you want to go to Eldora?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's go." And we booked and we went down. And I had never been to a dirt track before. That was my first dirt track race last year, and it was incredible. It was a great time, and we're gonna kick it up a notch this year with you guys. So
No, so we're in a bar. This is exactly how this
every good story.
Starts in a bar. Starts in a bar.
And it was like, hey, you want to go to Eldora? When is it? Whatever. And I go, book it. He goes, okay, I'll look into that. I go, no, seriously, book it. Grab your phone and do it. Here's my credit card. Let's just do it.
Done.
I mean, it was literally that fast. Dirt track racing's awesome. You guys know that, but the amount of preparation that they put into that track, I mean, they're not running till 8 o'clock at night. They're out there at 8 o'clock in the morning working that dirt and really getting that thing just exactly the way they want. Tony Stewart's out there in a tractor
Yeah.
all day long.
Because he wants to be.
That was the cool part. The food, they have everything down to a science there. It's really impressive.
Well, it was funny. They care so much about the track that on Tuesday they ran the final truck practice between the big block modified heat races and their feature. And the trucks tore the track up so bad that the big block modified feature got delayed for 2.5 hours of them rototilling the dirt and then running their big Suburbans over it to flatten it out. They want to put on a good show out there, and the atmosphere is fantastic. I can't wait to get out there.
Now, where are you guys sitting? Do you know how close you are to the track?
Sherwin, you know? I have no clue.
We're sitting with Julie and Mike Bosley.
Yeah.
Well, I know they're veterans of that too, so I'm assuming they're towards the top.
Yeah, so I didn't even think to ask until like as we were walking in at the race. I'm like, oh, so where are our seats? And Brandon's like, oh, we're in row 2. And I'm like, row 2.
Oh, did you bring goggles and face mask?
Right? Yeah, we had nothing, dude. We're getting pelted with marble-sized chunks of clay the first 5 laps, and it was, of course, Brandon hadn't been, and I didn't even think to look at the tickets. I don't know, whatever. We're going, okay.
We corrected the ways of our error for this year.
Yeah, wow.
But we're gonna have. I'm bringing cornhole boards. We got
I gotta find somebody
PA
to stand.
speaker.
I gotta find somebody to stand in for me at cornhole. I suck at cornhole. Something
Oh,
fierce.
man.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'll find a designated cornhole thrower.
Me and Sherwin one time rolled up on the tailgate of my boss at the time at a Georgia Tech game, and he said, "Hey, Ricky, you want to play cornhole with us?" And I turned to Sherwin, and I'm like, "Let's go ahead and do this real quick." We're heading into the stadium.
We're on our way.
Yeah, we're on our way to the stadium.
We're holding the beer we intended to finish on the way to the stadium.
Yep. All right, Sherwin, let's hit this cornhole. And I believe in something like what? I mean, you're playing to 21. I'm trying to think.
No, we skunked them 21-0.
21-0 in about 4 rounds.
It was. It was like
it was over.
It was 3.
Game
I
on.
think we had 3 rounds where we made 4 ringers.
Yeah.
Between
so,
the two of
so
us.
we're talking a big game now. We're going to bring the big game and see what happens. It's going to be fun.
Let's do it.
But Sherwin,
I'm ready.
what I'm looking
I'm gonna
forward
go-
to
I'm gonna go
is
recruiting.
the stuff the lap traffic guys right here are talking about. Tony and Brandon talking about these, all these races, not just the fact that we're there to go watch this truck race, but all this other stuff that's going on too. Just love dirt track racing.
yeah.
Love the idea of being able to see all this. Just love racing, but just being able to see all this stuff going on.
Well, I think we talked about this a little bit, but so that Saturday before we fly to Fort Wayne,
Kings Royal.
we're going. Yeah, so some of y'all are going to be. Some of our people that are listening and watching are going to be at Eldora for that. We're going to be at Dixie Speedway in Woodstock, Georgia, going to a World of Outlaws race.
Hell yeah!
With a
Nice.
full card of, super late models, the compact stuff that Kenny Smith runs in. They got a series there.
Yeah.
We're going to be raising hell on a Saturday night out in the
It's awesome.
sticks. And
Hell
then
yeah.
3 days
That's
later,
awesome.
we get to get on a plane and go see the big boys do it.
Yeah, on not a big dirt track, but just watching it on the
No.
big stage, loving
I
it.
tell you, they come by that first time, man. It's a little violent. I mean, these boys are. I mean, they mean business.
I like that word for it, violent.
violent.
It's a little
It
violent.
is violent.
I
you
love
know?
that. That's awesome. So that gets us. Y'all know how we close this thing out. Gets us estranged with Stang. Ashley J. Stang. She sends us a
I'm
question.
scared.
Oh boy.
Oh man,
boy.
this one's good,
Hold on.
y'all. This one's
Hold on,
good.
Pull them tight. Here we go. Race in.
Pull those
You know
belts
what?
tight
You know
one
what?
more time.
Yeah, this is right up Brandon's alley too. So
Yeah,
what
he might get a boner.
we're going there.
I'm gonna be over here.
All right.
I only
What's
said that because y'all are sitting right next to each
I'm
other.
just talking right here.
awkward? What's worth more money? Peyton Manning's jockstrap signed by Tom Brady, or Tom Brady's jockstrap signed by Peyton Manning?
Wow.
That is the reaction you're supposed to have.
Oh,
Absolute guffaw.
you want to know what's funny? All right, so before we answer this, so a lot of my friends obviously know I've got a man crush for Tom Brady and Kevin Harvick, and I've been posed the question of if given the opportunity to leave Lindsay for, and I'm going to use that as the most PC way proper, who would I pick, Tom Brady or Kevin Harvick? And I've defaulted to Kevin Harvick. So I get this question posed to me in a number of different ways, actually. So, Tony, you want to go first on that one?
I'm saying anything signed by Tom Brady is worth more money. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. What's it like in her head? It's like a carnival. Holy shit.
with carnies.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
dude doing
yeah.
the weight gets and stuff.
Guy pushing the button on the spinny go round.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the autograph too, just because everybody knows my love for autographs. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say I would take Peyton Manning's jockstrap signed by Tom Brady. Verbally said the whole thing. There you go.
So I'll go a little asking for more information. Are we talking about like these were game used jock straps, or are these like
No, we have to
See,
we have to
I didn't
assume
know
this
that.
is game used material.
game used? Now, are we talking about like Super Bowl used, or is this just like they were playing the Browns?
Yes. I'm going to add the preconditions of
My answer doesn't change.
Tom Brady's jockstrap from one of the 17 Super Bowls that he's won to signed by Peyton Manning to one of the 2 Super Bowls that Peyton Manning's won.
Okay, so
by
and
Tom
and
Brady.
it's a winning.
But there's
Super
only
Bowl.
one.
I mean, we're just saying
yeah, winning Super Bowl.
it's got to be winning Super Bowl. Okay, all right. And how many yards did he run for? Gross.
Minus 11 both.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a good point.
Not really running quarterback.
That's a good point. All right, so they didn't work too hard. I don't know what to say. Oh, I'm getting too deep here.
There's an old joke.
That's what she said.
There's an old.
No,
joke
she's
around
never
here that
said
says-
that, by the way. She's
says that
never said
They're
that.
still waiting for Tom Brady to finish running his 40 in the combine. So it's
He is the slowest
I
football
like
player
it.
that ever
I
played
like it.
football. But he's really good at playing quarterback.
I think I could find some. I'm not going to use a derogatory. Some kind Northeasterner who would pay more money for the Tom Brady signed or signature than I can find some Indianapolis corn-fed person who would would pay the money for the Peyton Manning thing. So, or Denver or whatever.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to have to find that weird crossover place where, so Peyton Manning is from New Orleans, and he played college football at Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Tom Brady is from San Francisco, and he played college football at Michigan. So I feel like the people that have affiliation of those colleges are likely to spend the most money on something as intricate as a signed jock strap. So I'm going to go with, I think, Tom Brady signing Peyton Manning's jock strap, like sold to a Tennessee alum, is probably like the highest value.
The crazy thing, you mentioned Tom Brady being quarterback at Michigan. I said, he was like a backup quarterback. He was not.
He
starting
started his
quarterback.
junior and senior year, but he was drafted last.
But he was splitting.
2001.
232nd or whatever it was. He was drafted the last guy that was drafted in 2001.
Oh, what a deal. Yeah.
But he
2000.
was
what a
splitting
deal.
playing time at Michigan with Drew Henson.
Yes, he did.
He wasn't even like, I got every game, this is my team thing. It was, so whoever picked him, whoever at the Patriots said, hey, we got to get this guy, they need to have a statue of that dude. In front of Foxborough.
Yeah, pretty sure
That's the guy.
Well,
pretty sure that guy coaches at Seattle right now.
we've got another sport to talk about at Eldora. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's
so
gonna be
looking
fun.
forward to that. Fellas, this has been a blast, and I can't believe it's been like an hour and almost 20 minutes now. So why don't y'all close us out? Tell us where we can find you. Tell us what's coming up next, and, make fun of us, whatever you want to do.
Hit him
All
up,
right.
Pete.
Make sure you check out our website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, Twitter, @LapTrafficPC. We will be back live not live, but we'll have a show next week on the 11th. We're still trying to finalize a guest for that show.
We got Cole Custer coming up.
We do have Cole Custer coming up on July 25th.
Oh, fantastic.
And
Awesome.
we will be live with you guys at Eldora in, 2 weeks?
Yeah, get your questions together for the Crew Chief Corner. Any questions that are bugging you out there, happy to answer those too. So.
And thanks, guys. We have had a blast.
This is fun. Looking forward to the next one. Sherwin, what's the deal? Close us out. What's going on?
Yeah, so you need to follow PETM Podcast at on Instagram and on Twitter. You need to follow me at Pregame Engineer. And you need to follow Rusty at Tailgate Mayor on the old Twitter box. Next week, we got some options.
Yeah.
Hoping to have a very experienced rider on board.
Yep.
I won't announce until I know for sure because that's the way we do it here.
Yeah. But it's going to be great. We're going to have so much fun. I'm so looking forward to this next week because we keep having this on week, off week, on week, off week. We're back to our on weeks. Let's do this. Let's go. We are NASCAR PTM Podcast. Come on, y'all.
Thumbs up.
Talk to you next week.
Check out that Sydney Bud sing-along SoundCloud. We are NASCAR.
All right.
All right.
That's that.
That was fun.
Man,
That was cool.
fellas, that was a blast. I had a lot of fun doing that one.
I did too. We need to do this a little more often. I think.
Yeah.
I'm totally in.
I have a question for you guys, and we're off there. I was gonna chime it in there, but I didn't want to drag it out even longer. Because I've been asked the question: do you think that NASCAR is too responsive to the fans?
Hell yes, they are.
I mean, they're like, oh man, when they have to fix it like that week.
Well, I don't want to speak for Rusty, but I can tell you this. He was a fan council member before I was, I think, for a year or maybe even 2 years. I don't respond to their shit anymore because they don't. Every decision they make is not based on the data that I provide. So I'm like, well, my data's either useless or not being read, so I'm not going to provide it anymore. And that's the reason why we started this podcast is because we are, not toot the fucking whistle, but we're above average intelligence people who are NASCAR fans. We don't come from the trailer park.
Right.
So we wanted a voice. And I did, whatever I just said is probably on YouTube forever now, and I don't mean to belittle anyone regardless of their status, but like that's the reason why we started this podcast. One of the many reasons is like we have a different voice. Rusty used to write software, and I used to be a process engineer. We have a different approach to life than most of the people that you go to the track and find. It sounds like you guys are the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're diverse opposite. Here.
Going to be going to school till I'm in the ground, and I'm a credit analyst. Like I mean, 8 pages of show notes. Need I say more with that?
And I'm a crew chief. Through the '90s. I mean, that's what I did. So I look at things different. I've been on that side of the toolbox and been on that side of pit road, and I think I look at things differently. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think different perspective. But
one of the reasons why we started this was just because we like you guys love talking NASCAR, and we do it for hours at the bar.
Yeah.
And we just got sick of our local sports radio not giving it any coverage. And we're like, hey, I wonder if we can maybe get a Michigan market, a Detroit market, and who knows who else. And honestly, we have a lot of Michigan listeners, but I haven't checked the analytics. But I think some of our, most listeners are out of the state of Michigan, which, is by default and why we started it.
Well, I think so. It's funny you say it that way. Or choose that data point to share. When I looked at analytics most recently, which hasn't been I haven't looked at it in a while, but most of our listeners are not Southerners. That's one of the things I thought was so awesome.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Is that most of our listeners are from the Northeast, the Midwest, and the West Coast. Like we don't have a lot of listeners.
Let me stop you real quick. I'm going to stop the stream at this point. So, YouTubers, thank you for joining.
Thank you, YouTubers.
We'll catch you next time. It's been awesome. Peace.